Let me introduce you guys to Ember, the closest thing that you're going to get to a walking fireplace in Warframe. And Ember was very good before, but now with the introduction of Temple Subsume, Ember has gotten way, way better. And so now today we'll be going over how we are going to make Ember effective, powerful, and also basically invincible. I hope you guys enjoy. Hello everyone, Ken here, and today I bring you World on Fire 2.0. And this build will be kind of nostalgic for some of you Warframe veterans that know Ember before her rework and how good she was and how she went for 800 or something plat before, it actually went down. So, getting into the build, I will showcase it. So first we need a little bit of setup. I'm going to pop our 2, pop our 4 just a little bit. And I'll also be explaining after some things that you can change and some quality of life. So after we get our bar full, we're going to pop our 3, and then we're going to pop our 1, and which this is Pyrotechnics. And everything just kind of dies. So yeah. And that's not even the best part about it. That was a bit slow, right? I will show you how fast it can be. So I'm going to spawn in some more corrupted heavy gunners, and we're going to pop our 3 just like again, and then pop our 1. And that was a lot faster, wasn't it? That's what you wanted to see right there. He didn't die. Oh, he's dead. Yeah, that's what you wanted to see right there, wasn't it? So I'll explain why that worked like that and how the build works. So going into the actual build, here we have growing power just for our strength. Preparation, this is kind of a quality of life mod. You can use prime sure-footed if you want to, but she has overguard, so there's no really reason to, or you can use something else. It's just a flex slot. And then we have just ability strength, Archon stretch. I'll go into that a little bit later on why we're using Archon stretch, even though we have pretty much all heat abilities. Primed flow, fleeting expertise, and this is just for immolation because immolation does drain over time, and this is to basically make your drain just non-existent. And then we have Archon Vitality, and because we're dealing with heat, it'll be applied twice. Healing Flame, this is where we're going to get our survivability from, and even Healing Flame does heal you, it heals your health if you get low, but it also gives you overguard if you overheal, basically. And then we have Prime Continuity, this is just for extra duration, and Rolling Guard, you don't really need this. This is a flex slot. There's a good amount of flex slots because you have overguard for your actual survivability. So now this is where a lot of our damage is coming from. When getting 3,000 or more overguard, you release a 30-meter radial attack that applies viral, and it's max stacks of viral. So that's 300% more damage to health on enemies. And then you got to be thinking again that we are going to be using Fire Blast to strip our enemies. And then finally, Temple Subsume Pyrotechnics is what we're going to be using for our actual damage. And this is why I say it's World on Fire, because if you know anything about World on Fire, it was basically fire that came from the ground, but instead it was like a channeling ability. It wasn't like just a single press like this, but it's basically the same thing, just a little bit better. And then we have Steadfast, just because we're going to be staring so many abilities, just kind of self-explanatory that it won't cost energy to cast your next 3 abilities. So that's also very good, a 20% chance. And then going over to the actual Panzer build. So I know that I did say Archon Stretch would be playing into this, and this is when our Panzer comes into play. But first, we have just viral quills just to spread more viral. And you don't really need viral quills, but it's just good to have, viral everywhere so that you can just one-shot everything. Because our viral is really giving us a lot of that damage, even though we're armor stripping. And then here is where Archon Stretch comes into play. So our Kavat will be proccing electricity, and this does actually count as Archon Stretch. I know it says abilities, but I guess this counts as an ability. So That will also be regenerating you 2 energy per second, so you won't have any energy problems with this build. Now, going over some other kind of builds that you can do, but I think this is personally the best. So you can put on, I don't have it on this build. Let's just buy a slot. So here you can see that fireball, the immolation meter goes up by 1% a second each time you cast fireball. So you got to cast fireball a lot to get it all the way up to 90%. And then whenever you cast fire blast, it will minus your immolation meter by 2%. So it goes all the way up to 90. And if you keep casting it, whenever you eventually cast it enough, the immolation meter won't like fill up as quickly, or it will just stay all the way down at 50%, and you'll have to cast fireball again and again and again. And this is why I went with subsuming off fireball, and then I instead am using Inferno, because Inferno gives you 3% every time you cast it. So I thought that would be a little bit better and more comfortable for a lot more people. Even though that you can, the reason why I did subsume off Inferno first, what was the thought process, was that you could put on a mod called Precision Intensifier. And, you know, it would be your 4th ability, Pyrotechnics, so you'd get more damage. But it just wasn't worth it, and I decided to go with the 1st ability. So this is pretty much the whole build, and I hope you guys do enjoy it. I will be going into a conjunction survival just to kind of show off the build. It works very well, just not against overguarded enemies, of course. So I would really suggest bringing a mod called our Secondary Fortifier, and this just deals 8 times damage to overguarded enemies, and this will help you with those overguarded enemies instead of having to deal with them with your abilities and taking forever. So I will see you guys in the conjunction survival. Here we are in the conjunction survival, and we are going to absolutely clear the room. It's going to use compressor to kill these guys and show you how this actually performs, because you might think it might not actually perform. So before we go into killing enemies, we're going to pop our 4th a whole bunch of times just to build up our meter, and then keep it built up so that we don't have to keep doing it. So we'll just pop our 4th a little bit, and then we're going to pop our 3 and then use our pyrotechnics. And you could just go around clearing rooms, and you can see my meter is not going down, is it? And it's because I popped it a whole bunch of times. So it'll eventually go down, like it keeps going down farther and farther. So it takes more percent because I'm not gaining as much. So I would say just pop your 4th and reset it. This is why you also want casting speed. So I would make sure that you put on at least 2 shards of casting speed, and it will help you a lot because you're going to be casting a lot of enemy abilities. And you can see this build does work really well. You can just fly around the map and absolutely destroy everything. So it's really like a World on Fire, but better. It scales better, and I haven't tried to take it into exterminations, but it seems like it would do well in extermination. I don't see why it wouldn't. And it's way better than the build with her 4th, at least in my opinion. Yes, the build with her 4th does do some sort of AoE because it gives like a like ring of fire around the enemies, and you could also use whatever that augment's called that makes it drop more energy orbs. But energy's no problem. You can see I'm not running out of energy. I'm spamming my abilities like absolutely insane, and I'm not running out of energy whatsoever. It's because of steadfast. So it works and performs very well. I would recommend this build to anybody that loves to use Ember and misses the old days of her, you know, being able to just clear out rooms and being the best map extermination clearer. I won't say best, but, you know, just makes it easy for everybody. and she's back. So I would really give this build a try. I want to see some overguarded enemies because you'll kind of see why it doesn't work at all on overguarded enemies, because they don't gain the viral stacks because they're overguarded. Like, so he does gain the viral stacks, but he's not going to take the damage. Like this, he's he's not really taking damage. Of course, you'll kill him eventually, but it's just better to have a secondary that will take him down for you. And that's why I recommended Fortifier. And you can also take his overguard, so you get more. But a lot of these enemies will get overguard, and it's not really an issue whenever you're killing everything this fast. But the higher you go, it does become an issue. So I could just do this, and then his overguard's gone. He just died. I do recommend Compressor just to use. It's a really good gun, but it is tedious to get because you have to do K-drive, and I know a lot of people don't like to do that type of stuff. I didn't like doing it either. I bought Compressor. I did. But I also didn't mention that her passive, Ember's passive, is actually that I'm pretty sure it's the more that you cast your abilities, the stronger that they get. I'll have to see. I'll see after this mission what her passive is for sure. And this doesn't really work on acolytes, by the way. It's not that good. It'll do damage, but it's not that good. Just bring in any weapon. I don't really have anything good for killing the acolyte right now, but it will kill him eventually. Oh gosh, and here it goes. There we go. Just get him out of here. Get him gone. And so my meter's down, so I'm gonna pop my fourth just a few times. I'm gonna sit here and pop my fourth. And then if you ever get low on health, of course, pop your third, gain that overguard. But very good build. Really enjoy it. You don't really need much, and it performs very well. So gonna get out of here once it hits 5 minutes. Just kind of wanted to show, because of course if you show something in the simulacrum, it might not always do what you actually want it to, or how it looked in the simulacrum end game. But this build does perform well, so I would give it a try if you really do enjoy Ember. But I would rate this build, I'm gonna have to go with a 9 out of 10. The only reason being is because that you can't really keep your immolation meter up. It always goes back down. So if you could just keep spamming your ability without having to worry about your immolation meter, that would be a 10 out of 10 for me. But of course, we can't have that much or be that overpowered. So that gets a 9 out of 10 for me. So if you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed this build, and how I kind of presented it to you, and how you like the build, let me know how you like the build. If it's good, or anything that you want to add, anything you think is better, leave it down in the comment section. But other than that, leave a like, leave a comment, anything. Just want to chat, and I will talk to you guys later. See ya.